Turning overseas, a big story that we are watching, Biden officials making their first trip to Asia. We have Secretary of State Antony Blinken and also Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin. They were raising concerns today about China during their first visit to Tokyo this week. For more on that, we want to bring in Ken Moriyasu. He is Nikkei Asia's U.S. editor. And Ken, it's great to have you here on the program. The trip to Tokyo, the headlines that came out of that trip was the fact that they both sides, U.S. and Japan, raising concerns about China's aggressive actions. That's what they were calling them. What's your takeaway from this meeting? And I guess what tone does this set ahead of the U.S.'s meeting with China later this week?
Hi, Seana. I think there are 4 takeaways from this meeting. First of all, what you said about China. U.S. and Japan specifically called out China in the joint statement, which was the first time they did it in the 2+2 meetings. They not only called out China, they said they had concerns about China's behavior in politics, in economy, the military, technology, so concerns all around. The second point, I think, that was important is that they raised concern or the importance of peace and security in the Taiwan Strait. So this also is the first time that they've mentioned this in a 2+2 joint statement. This comes after a bombshell statement by the head of the military, U.S. military's Indo-Pacific Command on Capitol Hill last week. Admiral Philip Davidson said that in the next 6 years, China could take action militarily to change the status quo of Taiwan. So this is very interesting that they mentioned Taiwan. On the economic front, there was 2 issues that I thought was interesting. One, they said they would enhance cooperation to build resilient supply chains. Of course, President Biden in February issued a presidential order talking about resilient supply chains, mainly in rare earth, semiconductors, and electric vehicle batteries. So the US and Japan will be working together to build a supply chain that doesn't rely too much on China. The last thing, this didn't come up in the 2+2, but in Secretary of State Blinken's meeting with Japanese business leaders in the morning, he said more than 900,000 American jobs are directly linked to Japanese investment in America. Now, this is important because it's so different from the Trump administration's attitude towards Japan. Mr. Trump was very unhappy with the trade deficit with Japan, and he threatened to pose auto tariffs on Japan for Japan to take action to reduce it. And what Japan did was they bought arms. In July last year, they purchased 105 F-35 jet fighters for a price tag of $23 billion. Blinken's attitude is very different.
Yeah, I mean, we can talk about the Toyota plants in Kentucky, Honda plants in Ohio, Nissan plants in Tennessee. But let's get to China. As an investor, paying attention to this, it's going to be crucial how the Chinese react to the rhetoric. How are they reacting according to the reporters you talked to? And would it have an immediate impact on investments here in the United States on equities?
Right. So the meeting with the Chinese on Thursday and Friday, which will be the highlight of this week of diplomacy to take place in Anchorage, Alaska, I don't think it's going to have any substance. It'll be both sides making their case. Even before the meeting takes place, both sides are busy trying to define the nature of the meeting in their own terms. Blinken is saying it's just a stopover on the way back from a very important trip to allies in Japan and South Korea. The Chinese are saying this is a high-level strategic dialogue, and the Americans invited us to that, so we're going there. I don't think it'll be like the December 2018 meeting between Trump and Xi Jinping when they agreed on a truce, a 90-day truce, in which they would try to come up with compromises to avoid tariffs. It's not going to be anything like that this week.
Ken Moriyasu, great to have you on the show, Nikkei Asia's U.S. editor. Thanks so much for taking the time.